Hey everyone, it's Rabbi Greg. This is our pilot of Torah Tuesday. We are going to be, see already I'm like messing with stuff. There we go. We are going to look at a couple verses in Leviticus from this week's Torah portion, Bahar, and you will get to participate or see in my process as I try to figure out what it is that I want to include in my source sheet for Torah study this coming Saturday. So, okay, we've already made a discovery. I can show my cursor, but I cannot actually change things on the screen. So I'm going to go over to here. I might actually need two screens in order to do this. Oh my God, all kinds of weird stuff is happening. So, hey, it's a pilot. We'll see how it goes. So this is in a Torah portion called Bahar, which means at the mountain. These are kind of instructions that the Israelites are receiving. One of them, early it starts about giving the land a rest, various things about freeing slaves every 7 years and having a jubilee. But what is interesting me is this from number 35. This just kind of stuck in my craw a little bit, and I'm like, what is going on here? So it reads, if your kin being in straits comes under your authority, and you are held as though resident aliens, let them live by your side. Do not extract advanced or accrued interest, but fear your God. Let your kin live by your side as such. So first things first, we're going to add these to my source sheet. So in Safari, I click on the verse, I click add to sheet. Here we go. We will add this one to the sheet as well. And I guess there's a couple of things that are sticking out for me about this. And the first one is, we'll start looking at commentary. Torah is the world's oldest book club. And so we can read what rabbis and other commentators have said, literally going back thousands of years. One of the most prolific and influential commentators is Rashi. So let's see what Rashi says. So he's clarifying these words here, v'chachezakta bo. You shall relieve him. Do not leave him by himself, so he comes down in the world till he finally falls altogether, which will be difficult for him to lift. So it's interesting because this verb here, umata, it's like slipping. It's often like if you're walking on a mountain path and your foot slips or you stumble. But here, yado is his hand. It's like if his hand slips. So, this could be interesting. I'm going to add it to the sheet. So it's kind of clarifying what does it mean to be in straits. But this was the one that I think really jumped out at me. Gar... it's here, gar utoshav, which means a stranger or sojourners. And what is a toshav? One who doesn't worship idols, but still does not keep kosher. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know. So I really am curious about this toshav. We're going to add it to the sheet. And now the rabbit holing begins. Okay, so first, this idea from Rashi comes from Sifra, which is Midrash. This was 2nd century-ish, very early rabbinic commentary. So here the translation is, if your brother grows poor and his hand falls with you, then you shall uphold him. As a convert and a sojourner, he shall live with you. So here it's the translation, which I want to look at a little bit more. Seems like you uphold him, but maybe with a different status. Um, okay, so this is kind of the whole burden falling from an ass. Once the donkey has fallen, it's kind of impossible to help it get up again. So you want to try to cushion the fall. Um, and who is with you, or convert. Um, okay, so I'm going to add this one to the source sheet as well. I may or may not use all of these on Saturday, but I kind of like this metaphor about don't let someone fall too far. Maybe it's you have a relative or a friend who has a drinking problem. Don't let them bottom out. Try to support them along the way. What else can we see about this? Oh, so I'm also interested in this word toshav, which I mentioned. So here it says sojourner or stranger. Well, that doesn't, just from the dictionary, that doesn't have anything to do with this idea about being an idol worshiper, right? Like Ger was sort of the righteous stranger, the convert, the full convert, this toshav, partial convert. I don't know. Where does that come from? Um, so we can look at other places in the Bible where this shows up. For example, in Genesis 23:4. So if I open a link in a new window, God, I hope you're seeing this. I'm going to take a peek at my OBS studio. Oh no. Yes, it is. Okay. So, yeah, here we see it. Ger v'toshav, I am a resident alien among you. Sell me a burial site that I may remove my dead for burial. Okay, so this is after Sarah has died and Abraham has gone back to the land of the Hittites, right? And he's trying to buy a burial cave for Sarah. And this is actually where Sarah's buried, and he does purchase the land. Isaac and Jacob are buried there. And Joseph, his bones are brought back from Egypt hundreds of years later. I don't know if he's buried in this cave or not. I don't know what the lore is. But here, the idea, though, is that this ger v'toshav, it has a very different context. And almost like putting them together is resident alien among you. So, in this context, it's not so much about two different classes of people. It is about a single class. Let's see, I'm going to go back to this other page here. Interesting, there's no hyphen between ger v'toshav in the text that we're looking at. So, I don't know, we'll get to the so what if you're still hanging out with me a little bit later. There's a couple references to Leviticus 22:10. Let's see what this is all about. Does this take us anywhere? Okay, so this is talking about food that is brought for sacrifice or donated to the priest. And here it's saying no bound or hired laborer. So this is the toshav shall not eat of this stuff, or the kohen. All right, so here it's just a toshav. So here it's just kind of a hired laborer. So I'm going to add this one to the sheet as well, because maybe it's saying someone kind of stumbles, pick them up or help them so they don't stumble all the way, but treat them like a hired laborer. So it's kind of interesting. We talk a lot about when you give charity to someone, how can you do that with dignity? How can you help them out of kindness and not out of I'm helping you, but you're obliged to, be my servant. Um, so let's go back to the original passage. So you might wonder, how was this understood at the time? What did people think about this as close to the authorship as we can get? Well, one way that we can get an idea about that is to look at the Targum. And this was from maybe a couple hundred BCE translation. Okay, so it's maybe a little bit earlier than the Midrash, kind of first through 8th centuries. These ones, though, Onkelos was very early, like first, second century. So they've translated it into Aramaic because people didn't speak Hebrew then. So by having it in Aramaic, the people who could speak and read Aramaic, they could understand what was going on in the Torah. It was like we would translate it into English today for those of us who are English speakers and readers. Well, we have these Aramaic translations, and then we translate those into English. So what Onkelos said is, if your brother, okay, so achicha, that's similar to your kin, becomes impoverished and his assets become shaky, you must support him. So too the proselyte, foreign resident, and the sojourner, said he shall live with you. So I'm going to add this to the sheet because I'm confused. I need to think about this some more. Is it saying not only do you support your brother, you need to support like these resident aliens? It's like it's not just the kin. It's not treat your kin as if they are as if they're a servant. It is to give a helping hand to anyone who needs it. Different Aramaic translation. And if your brother has become poor and his hand wavers with thee, then you shall strengthen and do him good. As a guest and a sojourner, he shall be nourished with you. Okay, two totally different translations in Aramaic a couple thousand years ago. So this is ambiguous. It's not clear who they're talking about. I'm going to look at another translation. This is from Robert Alter, who has professor at Berkeley, one of the most modern, best translations. He says, and should your brother come to ruin and his hand buckle under you, you shall hold him as a sojourning settler, and he shall live under you. Okay, so I'm going to go to here's the source sheet that I'm creating. And if I refresh, each one of these texts that I've been saving, they are all showing up here on the source sheet. So when we get together for Torah study, we can read this together and we can discuss it and we can try to unpack it. All right, so, okay, let me save that. Robert Alter translation comes next. Let's see what some other commentators have had to say. Rambam, 13th century, Rashi's grandson. That he may live with you. So it's saying if two people were in a desert, there's only a canteen of water enough for one person, and there's two people in the desert. Do you drink it yourself, or do you share it with the other person and you both die? I think this is a little bit of a sideline for where I want to go, so I'm not going to include that. In order to keep it in good condition, talking about under your authority, I think that's confusing as well. Um, how about Shizhuni, another 13th century commentator? In case you should uphold them in case they were a criminal. People thought they were a criminal. But, okay, I'm going to add this to a sheet. It's not like because it's the right thing to do. Maybe it's about saving their reputation. I don't know. Kind of interesting. Certainly not a direction I would have gone in to start thinking about criminality. Or Chaim. Okay, you may notice like all of these ones that I'm skipping, they don't have the little English tag. So I don't read Hebrew well enough, even close to well enough, to be able to use those commentators. But there's so much English, it's worth it. So here it's if he falls while he's with you. Um, oh, now this is a whole um, kind of mystical God within us. Failed to try to study Torah. Um, here's these are really kind of wild. I'm going to add them both to the sheet. I would cut them back pretty severely, but I think it's important to kind of think about the spiritual aspects of these, especially when it comes to personal development. What is going on? What if we're the person? It's our inner person who has fallen, who's having a hard time. So I'm always into the personal transformation aspect of things. I don't know how much more commentary. I've gotten a lot of stuff here that's going on. I haven't even gotten to this don't extract accrued interest, so I'm going to need to do that outside of this. Is there anything that I want to take a look at? I'm curious what Jewish thought has to say. So this is, that one's in Hebrew, the ethics of responsibility, how to heal a fractured world. It's almost worth just including that title. Last thing I'm going to look at is just sheets, like other source sheets that people have created. So this is all about giving charity other than giving money. So, okay, that's about it's all about strengthening the hands of the poor. There's some Torah chanting ones. I am not seeing anything else. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to go back to here, is one other commentary that I'm going to look at. Oops, I'm going to take us back to the original thing. And there is one of these big rabbi books which has this is just the book of Leviticus, and it has everybody's commentary. So you can kind of see that here's like this tiny one verse, and all of this other stuff is commentary. So if I look under verse 35, so here's the canteen of water. So here's his kuni. It talks about kinsman, resident, and alien. And they're in descending order of closeness. And the responsibility is first your Israelite kinsman, then a resident, properly a convert, and then a non-Jew who resides in the land. It is more important to take care of one who is with you. The poor of one's own city always take priority. Okay, so that's from Abramel. I am going to add that to our sheet. The poor of your city first. Okay, so we are going to be coming to a close. I hope you've gotten a bit of an idea of how I would go about creating a source sheet. What I'm going to do before Saturday is I'm going to look at this a little bit more. I'm going to look at that second verse about charging interest. I know that there's some good stuff there. Like it says, you cannot collect somebody's food as an interest payment. You don't want to, especially if this is the person that you're helping up, you don't want to make them more destitute. You don't want to make them more dependent on you because they're never going to be able to get back on their own feet. If you like this video, if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. Please like and share this. Please subscribe. And come by. I will in the chat or in the description, I'll put information so you can come and join us. See you soon.